We are live.
We did it. Well, you did it.
We did. No, we did it. We did it.
Teamwork.
And thank you first to you and to all the people who wanted to watch the other day that I had to cancel on at the very last minute. The bug bite is fine. We are good.
That's what matters.
Mm-hmm. And all is well. And this is the story of, the power of storytelling. And that's just not a story I really want to tell. It's not nearly as exciting as I'm sure the stories that we will come up with today with Mr. Rob Hunter, who honestly has been the driving force behind all those stories you guys tell me that you like to hear in my content. He was very clear. He voxes me when I use a story, and he's like, "Oh, that was such a great story." So now, if I don't get that vox, I'm like, "Oh no."
Uh-oh, I created a monster. Oh no.
You did. So welcome, Rob, to Shaneh's World. Appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday to be with us. Hi, Jan. We saw you join in the chat. Feel free to ask any questions as we go on. Rob, tell us a little bit about your story and how you got here and why you are the best at what you do.
Oh man, just starting right with that, huh, Shaneh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't take it easy on you. You know better.
I do know better than that. Absolutely. Well, Shaneh, thank you first for welcoming me into Shaneh's World to talk about how much I love stories. And I'll just give you a little preface here. The type of content, the type of presentations that I'm just gravitating towards is story, because it cuts through all the noise. And that's why I love stories. So my background is in radio broadcasting. I did that for 27 years. The origin part of that story, Shaneh, is when I got this voice. I was 14. My voice changed. Two random people said to me, "Shaneh, you and I always talk about how the universe has your back. Universe is conspiring in your behavior." Two random people told me that I have a great radio voice. And that got me thinking like, is that a career? That sounds fun. So I decided to do that because in my gut, in my intuition, it said, yes, you need to do this. And the second part of that story is I love hip hop music. I love hip hop music so much that I decided to go to college specifically so I could host a hip hop radio show, because the college I went to, Emerson College, Boston, Massachusetts, they had a hip hop show on at night. And as soon as I heard that, so 14, I hear, "You have a great radio voice." Somewhere around that same time, I heard this hip hop show. I'm like, that's what I'm supposed to do. And that's how it started.
I've told you this before. You're not the person, like if I didn't know you, that I would think would be into hip hop. Like it's not what I expect. Now, I don't think country, but maybe some like Southern rock.
Mm-hmm. Which, no disrespect. I like some of it.
No, not disrespect at all.
All hip hop, baby. All hip hop.
Why hip hop? What is it? What does it do for you? Because it does something.
It really is a great question. And I think there's so many things I love about the art form. Number one, the art form. Mm-hmm. The way that certain rhymers, rappers, hip hop artists, the way they can put words together, the way they can tell stories. For example, the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, such a great storyteller through rhyme. It just brought me into a different world too, Shaneh. I got to hear and I got to see a different experience than my own. I grew up, obviously, a white dude in suburban Massachusetts in a 98% white town. Mm-hmm. So to be able to experience and know that there's a different world out there and there's different ways of living and experiences, that for me broadened my mind. And that was really that hook into hip hop. Mm-hmm. Aside from the fact that I just love the confidence and the energy that you can get behind a microphone and express yourself in a certain way that you can say something and put into words that maybe I couldn't.
That's what music does for me. Now, I don't have a broad repertoire of rap music or hip hop music that I am familiar with. It just wasn't part of my growing up. In fact, you've probably introduced me to 75% of the hip hop music that I listen to. Um, but music, it tells a story. It brings me into a different reality. It helps me face emotions maybe I didn't know how to articulate. Maybe it pulls me out of emotions that I'm sitting in and gives me a different lived experience for that 3 minutes 42 seconds.
Yeah.
Music to me is as necessary as oxygen.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So I
Yes.
love that. I also I have not successfully been able to do an entire song yet, but one of the things that you suggested that I do in order to manage my breath control and things, because I am doing more speaking, reading my articles and things like that,
Mhm.
was you just need to rap this song. I get tongue twisted on the best of days. So again, I have not successfully made it through an entire song at any attempt, but I keep trying. And one of these days, you are going to get a Vox from me.
Cannot wait for this.
It's gonna be hysterical because what I'll probably do is try and rap it for you, which is
Awesome.
going to be even more funny.
So good.
So I titled this chat "The Power and Profitability of Storytelling." And the reason I did that is I understand the stories we tell ourselves and each other create our reality. And when I'm working with clients around their money mindset, I'm helping identify the stories they are telling themselves
Mm,
so that they can create a new story for themselves. It's also incredibly helpful in helping people understand what you do, why you do it, who you do it for, and all those things. And they can be short one-liner stories.
indeed.
I told a mini itty bitty story today on my notes. I used to be the merch girl for a Canadian tenor. I was the person manning the table, selling the CDs.
Mhm.
How many people knew that about me?
Exactly. Exactly. Even on your website, you have
Mhm,
such a great origin story that you share on the website, and I was reading it the other day, and I formed an instant connection with you because 2 things I didn't know. You started working on books with your dad at the age of 12.
mhm.
Wow. That's cool, impressive, and interesting. So I'm like, "Tell me more about this Shaneh Woods." And then at 19, you bought your first business. I didn't know that either. I'm like, "Oh my goodness." The layers that Shaneh keeps revealing show how truly unique and amazing and special that you are. So now I have this bond I'm creating with you, and I'm like, okay. So that is one of the cool things about stories is there's a chemical process in our minds that
Yep,
creates a bond. Like
yep.
there's a shared chemical release. It is as ancient as humans are. And I love that you tap into that. I love that you did it so well on your website because it already works.
Well, I admit, as it was being written, what would Rob say?
Not sure if that's the effect I want, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Well, they talk about, in your stereotypical business advice that, people buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yes. Mhm.
Stories help make that happen, right?
Indeed. Yes. It's if you take out just the fun of it, one of my favorite things to do is when I meet a new person, a random person, if I'm sitting at a bar or something like that, or waiting for a plane, tell me about your story. Tell me about yourself.
Mhm,
Because you always find interesting things that people have experienced and lived through, how they make decisions, what they've done in their lives, what are their achievements, what are their struggles. It's just it helps me even go beyond the profitability and the power, but
mhm,
just relate to people on a one-to-one level. Because ultimately, that's one of the things we all have in common, right? We all have our own realities and our own experiences that we interpret based on what happens to us. And when you delve into someone's story and ask them questions, and you're so good at this too, that curiosity,
Mhm.
it helps me judge others less. It helps me say, I live a certain way. That doesn't mean everyone else does. So I can approach more situations, disagreements, even Shayna, with
Mhm.
grace. And every time I get a story, I feel like I'm expanded a little bit more and to have a fuller, richer experience in life.
Humanity is so beautiful, and their stories is what makes them so beautiful,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, I absolutely detest, the typical networking, "What do you do?" Partially because I don't know how to answer it, not in a way that feels alive. Stories feel alive.
Yes.
And when, somebody asks what do you do? It's like, I'm an accountant, which by the way, saying you're an accountant immediately shuts down the energy of any room you're in. So I almost want to go, which I got a mirror thing going on here. I'm an accountant.
Right. I'm an accountant with this. Yes.
Purple, purple. I'm an
Exactly. With the
accountant,
hair.
But it really does. If when I say that, the energy just shuts down.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I started like trying to come up with a little bit of a story in order to introduce myself. I think the best one I ever had was, well, as a foster kid, I didn't have a great relationship with money. So what I do now as an accountant and a money coach is help my people rewrite the stories that they hold around money so that they can get in right relationship with their desires and what's possible for them. And it's better. But I just put that little bit of interesting as a
Yeah.
foster kid,
Absolutely.
right? Because it does make people go, "Oh, let me lean in a little bit more." And if I say it really fast and I get from accountant to money coach really quickly, maybe I don't drop the energy in the room.
It's a tricky balance, right? To try
Mhm,
to do both because yes, I have the skills of an accountant, but I have the
mhm.
experience that goes beyond being an accountant. So I
Yeah.
have, you were a CFO multiple
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
You do that with people now. So it's hard to
Mhm.
wrap all the Shayna into one sentence or one what do you do? And I think it's beneficial because we've all and asked that question or heard that question so much. What do you do?
Mhm.
It's like we hear the answer and we're just kind of like, okay, unless you say something like, well, I was a foster kid and I had a really troublesome relationship with money until I learned how to fix that. And guess what happened? More money came to me. So that's what I help people do is change
Right.
their relationship with money so that more can come to them. Because I
Yep.
believe profit is protest, one of your famous sayings, and that the more profit you have, the more good in the world you can do.
Yep. See, I need you to do like on 102.5, the way you could announce on the radio. I need you to announce Shayna's World, and I need this as a audio file that just plays on my website that explains who I am, who I do it for. Because you make it sound so easy. You make it sound so easy and effortless, and I want that. I mean, you also have an incredible voice, which is,
That was
you
great.
know,
Mhm.
love to listen to. I want that. Can you teach somebody to express themselves in such a way that other people are going, "I want that."
The answer to that question is yes, Shayna Woods. It is a yes. My career was spent after I did hip hop radio. The hip hop that I loved to play wasn't really played on the radio. So there was a dead end road for me. So I'm like, okay, what other ways could I get in? I just need a job. So I got a job at a talk radio station in Gainesville, Florida. And in the process of learning how that works, where, if you're a music DJ, you are what we'd like to say walking up a song. So you'd be like, coming up next on Shayna Woods Radio, we've got the latest from Mark Masry. This is a Christian song, but don't you worry. You're going to love it. Just listen to his voice. That's right now on Shayna's World. So that would be a walk up to a song.
Okay.
Whereas you enter the talk realm, You've got a blank space of 10 minutes that you have to fill and be good and be smooth, because you know that button on the radio is what I want to press. It's like how we flip on the phone. The
Mhm.
original flip was you pressing the radio button, and then they made it
Yep.
easier. They put it on the steering wheel, the car companies. So I really had to focus on, how do I keep someone's attention for 10 minutes?
That's a
And
long time.
it is a long time, and to do it well and to do
Mhm.
it in a way that is easy to follow. And I wasn't very good at it at first. But what I learned to do, and this is what I help my people do, Shaneh, is all right, we are going to get in front of the whiteboards. I have 3 of them, but I also have Post-it notes. Shaneh, we did what, a 5.5 hour session. I think we were 6 or 7 whiteboard Post-it note combo. So, as
Yep.
Jan is saying here, right, that you love an accountant, one with purple hair. Yes, right. So those are things that would come up in our session. Like, what
Mhm.
makes you different? What are your principles and values? And then what we do is we find the interesting things for you to say. We work on how you would say them and what feels right for you. And we skip the boring parts. Like
Mhm.
authors always say, Elmore Leonard was an author. He wrote a bunch of like Western type series. He says, skip the boring parts, because that's what you have to do as a radio show host in 10 minutes. Like, if I have to keep someone's attention for 10 minutes, I cannot be boring for a minute. Because the other weird thing about radio is I only got any ratings credit if you stayed for 5. Anything after 5 is a bonus. But if you left after 4 minutes and 58 seconds, no credit. So it's really this fine art of this dance that we do. But what you learn in the process is how people pay attention to things and what causes tune outs, their mind to go elsewhere, or them to change the channel. You learn those things, and that is really what comes out in the work, is that experience of doing on-air gigs when you can't even see your audience, but yet knowing the pulse of it.
Mhm.
That's kind of that subtext of what we work through.
Okay. You had to keep them on for 5 minutes to get the credit
Mhm.
and 10 minutes filling up that whole time to get to the next thing. Nowadays, the attention span is what? 7 seconds? I
Yeah.
mean, it's some ridiculously fraction of a minute. How do we keep people's attention? How do we not yet keep, but grab somebody's attention so they don't scroll?
Such a great question. So I think about 2 different ways, right? Because there is the scroll and there's the real life, right? There's the
Mhm.
scroll, which is just a person's mood who's just got a thumb. They're looking for something that interests them. I heard it said the other day, social media is dead. Interest media is here. So
Okay.
first thing is really understanding your audience. So for example, every radio station I worked at, we would do this exercise, kind of like we do in business owners, who our ideal clients are. This is
Mhm.
our ideal listener. So I'll give you an example. The last station I worked at was a guy named Bill. We named him Bill. Bill was 50 years old. He had 2 kids. He's a business owner. He drives a F-150. So it just gave us a general sense of a baseline of who our audience is. Of course,
Mhm.
it's not just Bill. So we want to be knowing Bill well enough, but also knowing broad enough how to bring a Shaneh on board, or how to bring, a Rob on board, because that understanding is that centerpiece. And then you can put all the other pieces together to have a more broad coalition, if you will, which I always tried to do on the radio. I didn't, there was always these demographic people that, this is your demographic and stick to the demographic, and this is who you're talking to. I'm like, yes, and. Yes, and. I'm not
Always yes,
just
and.
talk. Yes, yes,
Yep.
and.
Yep.
Exactly. So knowing that audience is a big portion of that, to find what's interesting to them, thinking interest media. And then from there, it's just about feeding that interest and providing that value. So when you're talking news and politics and culture of the day, it is, what's the most interesting news stories of the day? What are the most interesting cultural touch points we saw today? What challenged us in our beliefs? And how do I piece those all together in a way that keeps it interesting for my ideal people?
Okay. I run an online business. I don't have local clients. So you're like, there's a difference between online and or social media and real world. And I'm going, I, the real world is seeing people at the grocery store for me.
Yes. Hmm.
uh, Now, having said that, You and I are going to be sharing a stage in July in Chicago for 2 days. Inspire and Elevate Live by Jeffrey Shaw, right? Hosted by Jeffrey Shaw.
Our boy.
And we're not going just to share our stories. We're not just going to be on stage. We are going to stay there and my monitor went to sleep. That was a little scary.
That is one thing. Substack now, I do that too. We're live, and I'm like, I don't want to touch the mouse, but yet it keeps fading out, fading in, fading out.
That was rather startling.
What happened? Where did we go?
Well, and I don't know what the experience is on the other end.
Perfectly fine. Didn't notice a thing.
Awesome. But we're going to be participating. We're going to be learning from the other speakers that are there and engaging with the audience. So what's the real world experience of sharing ourselves, our stories in a way that is about truly connecting? Yes, I hope to get clients out of that audience. I'm going to be honest. I am not going only to get clients. I'm going to make connections. What those connections end up being gets to be up to the universe. And I'm okay with that.
Yes. Yes. I love that distinction because I look at, like our online presence as way more to the point. Like you got to get to the point right away because that's what people are reacting to on their phones, online, quick. Not always
That's so
the case.
hard for me.
It is hard, but it's really what we'll work on is what is that first hook? And then we go from there. Yeah. So one of my clients is I live in Phoenix. He's in Phoenix and he runs an auto shop. So what we work on with him is like a donut approach for his social media content is we want a nice hook here that captures the interest. And then when you're and that right beneath that hook, that's the magic sauce right there, because then people get to experience you online. In person, I feel there's way more leeway because you're just one-on-one or you're maybe in a group of 5 or 7 people and you get to dance a little bit more. And that is really when you can find some depth. So to create those connections by telling stories, of course, but learning about each other, that's when you really get the movement and that's when you really build the community. So the online approach, I always think, is to try to get a longer conversation with someone or that they see more of your things that they're relating to. Whereas in person, you might, I like to ask this question instead of how you doing? What's been the best part of your day? And you just get interesting answers. The other day I did this. And this woman goes, that's a really interesting question. So she thought about it for a second. And she says, the fact that my grandson's soccer game was canceled this morning. And I love the honesty of that answer because she's like, I didn't have to get up early. I didn't have to trudge across town. I got to sleep in. And now I get to come to work unstressed. And I'm like, excellent. I love that answer.
That's awesome. So what is the best thing that's happened to you today?
Oh, okay. The best thing that's happened to me today is prior to doing this live, Shaneh and I had been chatting for a couple of hours. So anytime I get to have a couple of hours with Shaneh Woods, that's the best part of the day right there.
Aw. And I was going to say it was my chocolate croissant.
Well, for you, why wouldn't a chocolate croissant be the best part of your day?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am having a brilliant time spending the day with you. So Rob and I are part of a mastermind, and our mastermind is currently in Paris. For various reasons, Rob and I weren't able to join them. And so we decided we'd have our own little mini retreat. So that's what we're doing today.
Exactly.
And then because of our reschedule from earlier in the week for this live, we were like, well, we'll just do the live while we're together anyways. So it's perfect.
Exactly.
But yeah, I love you, Rob. But that chocolate croissant was, pretty top tier.
None taken. I did see you take a bite and I was like, oh yeah, that's good. Because you said in that particular chocolate croissant, there was chocolate in every bite. And if you're going to make a chocolate croissant, put chocolate in every bite. Do us all a favor. I mean,
yes. Yes. Be generous.
Yes.
All about generosity in my world.
Indeed. Mhm. It comes out of you, your generosity. It just does. Mhm.
Well, interestingly, I believe that receiving is the greatest skill set that a business owner can cultivate. Receiving money, receiving support, receiving space, time, rest, all the things. We need to learn how to receive.
Mhm.
But receiving is a cycle. Right? If I tell you it is better to breathe out than breathe in, that makes no sense. And if you tried it, you'd suffocate. Receiving's the same thing,
Mm.
right? It's a cycle. So if you only ever give and never allow yourself to receive, you suffocate. You kill the cycle.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
how I actually think stories is a way that we give of ourselves
I
when they're true, when they're authentic.
I agree with you because stories can showcase your vulnerability, your realness
Mhm.
as a human. And when you're willing to share parts of yourself, it gives people an okay to share parts of themselves. Because I always find that when we do that, we're making connections. So, for example, I just did a podcast with my barber. My barber looks nothing like me. He comes from a completely different place. He looks at the world in a different way than I do based on his experiences. But when we come together and I chat with Clipper Kev, AKA still the cleanest, because he cuts the cleanest lines, not only do I learn about approaches to life that are different from mine, but I get to hear these experiences. And it's weird that even though if you put us next to each other and you put us in a lineup, you'd be like, they would never be friends. Yet we are friends because when you get through the stories, you find so much more in common than difference, right? You can see the difference, right? In skin tone, in
Mhm.
hairstyle, whatever, height, you know, Kev's a pretty built guy. So he's big. So you put all those things together, you would if you just judge the book by its cover, you're not going to see the contents of the book. And the contents
Mhm.
of the book is where it gets real interesting and real fun. And you realize, you know what? We're all human. We're all built the same way. And we all experience ups and downs and we have different journeys that we take. But the main part of life is that we all experience a similar version of it in our own way. That to me is really what could heal the world, Shayna, if we did more of that.
I don't disagree. Words build our reality. Our subconscious does not know the difference between what we say and how we show up. It hears everything we say as true and true about us. Gossiping bad,
Yes. But it's so
judging
easy.
other.
And sometimes it's fun. You don't want it to be fun, but it can be fun.
I mean, let's be honest. Yes,
Hmm.
uh, and I am so conscious that my subconscious takes in everything is true and true about me that I'm like really like I don't want to hear that. I don't want that in my brain because I don't want it in my body. I don't want it in my beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and as we share our stories and we see how we are more alike than different, as we see that it's our humanity that matters and not all the other things that are being piled on, the world gets to be better because we treat ourselves each other like we'd want to be treated. Right?
Exactly.
When we allow ourselves to experience humanity through stories, through interactions in that manner. Now,
And
do I want to see more of that in the world? Yes. Yes, please.
yes.
More, more, more. Thank you, more, please.
Yes.
Um, I'm gonna actually scroll back for a second on the chat here. Uh, Bex mentioned that they're in acting and that it scrolled past. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But they said something about it's more important to entertain than it is to market
Mm.
for this particular sector. And I actually think that's true. And I think that's part of what a story does. Right? We can share our stories as a business owner. I want people to buy from me.
Of
Let's
course.
be honest.
Of course.
But if I tell them a story about a client's experience with me or where I did, for example, my own martyr math audit on my business and the pit in my belly when I realized I spent $46,000 on educational opportunities in order to prove myself worthy of having what I desired, and didn't take $46,000 worth of action.
Mhm.
I was like, oh shit.
I caught myself.
Yeah. And here's the thing, sharing that story, one, people feel less alone because we've all spent money, maybe
Yes.
not $46,000, maybe it was $46, but it's $46 that we were like, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. And here's why. So now they don't feel as alone. They also see and experience that I am not putting myself above them, right? Too much in our world is all about levels,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
hierarchy. I'm
Mhm.
above you, you're above me, da 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 da. And that's just not the world I want to live in. So I think by sharing the stories, it does help my people see the commonalities. Yes, I may be more skilled in this one thing, but that doesn't make me better than.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because again, going back to that vulnerability idea, some of the best stories to share are the things you messed up or the things you didn't get right or the lesson you learned from trying it a certain way and not going as well as you expected. Because I think there is so much pressure online in particular to appear that you have every single thing figured out and appear perfect, but no one is, right? It's just it becomes noise of the 8-hour morning routine in order to be a perfect human being. You got a cold plunge, you got a sauna, you got to go run 12 miles, and you got to lift weights, and you got to do it all before 8 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Not for me. I am not doing that. Not happening.
I can't get you to get up at 8 to do my Monday morning tapping.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm a late
Your
night
loss. I
person.
love you, but your loss.
It
Your
is my
loss.
loss. If you
My
did it at
tapping is
midnight, I would be there.
amazing. Once a week. That's all you got to do. Once a week.
Once a week. Once a week. Mhm.
Heck, once a month.
Heck, I've done it twice this week alone with you. So
Yeah. And it wasn't at 7 a.m. my time.
exactly. See?
So the story that we're telling people is that when you're a part of Shayna's world, there are concessions made to the people that cannot or will not get up early.
Exactly. Exactly. Shayna will adjust. Shayna adjusts all the time.
Just because I am an early riser, I do not expect the world to be. And honestly, some of my best stories when I'm writing them out for the Substack or my website or wherever I'm wanting to post them, writing my Profit is Protest book, they come to me in those early morning hours when the whole world feels silent. It's like I'm not being bombarded by other people's thoughts, ideas, suppositions. I get to just let myself breathe and let what wants to come out and through me come out and through me.
Mhm.
And I love it. Like, so honestly, the 7 a.m. tapping is a little hard for me sometimes because I still want to be writing. I still want to be sharing my stories. And it's like, oh, I got to stop and tap.
Yeah, it can be tough because you're in flow. You're in the middle of the download, and you're like, "Oh, okay." But I promised to do this. Let me go do this real quick.
Yeah.
Mhm. But
Here's what I
looks like
think.
we have a split in the room. Like Bex is on theater time, so Bex, I'm with you, and Jan is with you and getting up early. And also, Jan, I did see Simmons College, class of '76, Boston, Massachusetts. Love it. We're neighbors. We're neighbors.
Jan and Bex are two of my favorite people, so it's lovely having them here. I did see somebody else, their name popped up real quick in chat. I don't know if they're still watching, but welcome. And again, any questions you have for Rob and I, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We're happy to answer. I want to talk about my tapping for a second because I'm making a connection here that like seems so obvious. I don't know why it feels like a light bulb moment for me.
Mm.
But when we're tapping, we're literally releasing the stories that are no longer for us and tapping in a new one.
So good.
I love
So good.
that. Like,
Well,
I'm
especially
actually getting a
we were
little bit of
talking a lot.
goosebumps.
Yeah. But today we're talking about how a lot of your work revolves around story and how
Mhm.
you coach people
Yep.
is what are your stories you're telling yourself now? Let's tap those out and let's tap in some new ones. Like we're a wrestling tag team. It's your turn. Let's go. Good story. Come in here. Vision. Let's go.
Yeah. Hi, is it Kira? Hi, Kira. If I'm saying that incorrectly, please correct me. I always want to get your name right.
And thank you. It's very
Um,
nice.
names are important. Sometimes in stories, particularly as a business owner, you kind of have to fudge the name because you might not have the person's permission to share their story, right? You don't want to expose anybody without their permission. And always business owners listening, get permission before sharing a testimonial.
Consent is sexy.
Consent is sexy. Consent is the most profitable skill you can ever have. Um, and if you're not doing my tapping, you need to come to the tapping because we're tapping on consent with the universe right now. We're tapping that you get to give the universe your consent in order for it to conspire in your favor. It's super powerful. I'm having so much fun with it.
Yes.
I've probably done it a dozen or more times since writing it.
It's there's something playful and flirty about it when you start to listen to the story that the universe has your back.
Yeah.
And I have, we were talking about this too, Shane and I have so much evidence in my life that even when I wasn't asking for it, the
Mhm.
universe collaborated on my behalf and put these little dots together for me to have this nice little pathway. So I
Yep.
could be grateful for that too and look back on those stories and feel those stories to help inform my new stories.
I love it. Back to what I was saying about
Sorry, yeah, chance comment. Shane is nothing if not flirty. Facts.
I didn't see that. I mean, yes, I do love to flirt. In person and in my writing. I do have an agreement with my husband that I will not do or say anything I cannot do or say in front of him, and he has no problems with me being flirty. So it works out really well for the
Indeed, it
both of us.
does.
One of my favorite series on Substack is a 3-part series called Flirting with the Universe. And it is a series about really telling the story of what it is that you want and then leaving the door open for the universe to actually provide you what's in your highest and best, even if it doesn't look like exactly what you want. Some of you have heard me talk about the or better, right? So it is to help you understand the depth in which we go when I say or better, because it sounds really simple. Set a goal and then just add or better to it. There is stuff underneath that. there is the holding of space for the or better to come in, of releasing the need for the ultimate outcome to look like exactly like what you imagined. And I'm going to bring it right back to stories. It goes to the story you're telling yourself, the story that you have the ultimate control. I don't honestly believe any of us are truly in control of anything. We get to surf with life. We get to manage our responses. And I think maybe the only thing we can control are our reactions.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's
And
how
even
I
sometimes, not so much.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's such a major life philosophy for me and going back to that judgment and trying
Mhm.
not to judge other people for things they did, not I did.
Right.
It had no harm on me. Why am I judging it? Just
Yep.
accept it, knowing that all I can control is my reaction to the decision that someone else made. I love that.
Yeah. So it's releasing that belief that we have the ultimate control. There's also releasing of the belief that we can imagine all that is ultimately possible, right? We actually have pretty puny brains. We really do. But the universe is conspiring in our favor. So if we say, yes, I desire this, I desire to have a best-selling book titled Profit is Protest. Rob desires to be known as the best communications coach, right? Great. And I want this or better. This or better. I may ultimately be known as the best-selling author of a book I haven't even named or written yet.
Absolutely.
You may become known for something wildly different than being a communications coach, right? So it's like, I want this or better.
So it's so relatable because when I was younger on the radio for the first time, I got an incredible opportunity at the age of 25, which hardly anyone gets. I got to host my own talk show called The Rob Hunter Show in New Orleans, a top 50 media market, which the higher the market, the better for us radio ambitious guys and gals. So we want to be closer to the big population. So to be able to get to do that at 25 in New Orleans, I thought my path was set. I thought I was going to be in New York, Shaneh, by 30. So that became the goal. But the universe had other ideas because 2 years after I got that gig, a little hurricane called Katrina came along, and that changed the plans.
Sure.
But I still had that New York, New York, New York idea in mind. But it ended up being in Phoenix. So Katrina happens. I end up in New Mexico. And I end up about a year later in Phoenix, and I've been here 19 years. So the or better that I wasn't even thinking about, my quality of life is way better here than it would be in New York. I have more space than I would have in New York. So even though I thought it was New York, it ended up being Phoenix. And I retired as the #1 rated afternoon show host in Phoenix, which was the actual goal. It just wasn't the way that I thought it would come about, but the goal was still achieved. The universe still pushed me in the right direction.
Because you let go of some of the control, right? If you had held so tightly to it had to be in New York, you would have missed opportunities that were presented to you. You would have maybe gone to New York and been miserable.
Yeah.
You might not have ever reached #1.
Absolutely.
Because it was like, no, it has to be in New York. It doesn't count unless it's this exact way.
Exactly.
And that is, I'm trying to think. I believe that's probably the second of the 3 articles where I talk about releasing the need for it to be an exact way.
Yeah.
I saw a comment about Kyra. I saw you said it was the long I. So Kyra, am I saying that right now? Says, yes, Gaia says, come dance with her. And I love that idea. Dance with the universe in partnership, right? Dancing is another form of storytelling.
Indeed it is.
Right? So dance with it, be in partnership with the universe, allow the frequency to move with and through you so that you get to have the elevated experience that you're here to experience.
That's one of the things I love most about you is you say simply desiring it is enough. Because you desire it, you can get it and should get it. Yeah. Versus, oh no, you can't desire that big thing because that's completely ridiculous. You're like, nope. Or better, more please.
Thank you, more please. It's one of my catchphrases. We have an interesting relationship with desire and deservedness, right? A lot of times saying that you desire something, depending on maybe your childhood, maybe your experience in family or church, right? Desire can actually feel dark or dirty, right? Or egotistical or greedy or selfish. Like there's so many ways that we hold desire as a negative word. And I'm like, no, desire just means you want something. And I believe you deserve everything you desire and then some simply because you exist and it harms no one.
What a different story than my desires are too big or I shouldn't desire what I actually desire because so-and-so doesn't agree with it.
As long as it harms no one. right? That is my only caveat,
Yeah.
because we are not here to harm each other.
No.
Too many people are, and we're not going to go into that because I do not want to bring down the chat with a political rant, which we know I can go on.
And we welcome. Mhm.
Not today. I ain't in the
Yeah,
mood.
we're in a good mood today. We're
Yeah,
just going to ride the good mood out. We're going to
right.
surf with the good mood the universe is providing for us today.
Yeah, let's keep that elevated expression of what wants to come through, and as long as it harms no one, then there should be no guilt around what we desire. The only guilt should be if we're actively, intentionally harming somebody.
Yeah.
And
I think that having
yeah,
those experiences with people too, and the more you talk to people, the more curious and the more you hear their stories, the less you'll think about harming someone because you want to do it
mhm,
in harmony versus harm. And that
mhm,
I think is when humans are at our best, when we're in harmony, we're
yep,
working together, we're collaborating, even when we disagree on some things. It's okay. We can disagree and still work together and
yep,
collaborate and create something awesome.
mhm. I love the word harmony. The most frequency that I frequently words are hard.
Well, this is
I
getting like in
know
the middle of the night for you at what time is it? At almost 2 in the afternoon. So
well, I don't know if you know this. I actually have a stutter.
you've told me this before. I've not heard it once.
I had a stutter my entire childhood. I had speech therapy in order to control it. Then I busted out my front teeth. These front four are false. I got hit in the face with a tire swing. Yeah. But we were very poor. This was before foster care. So it was it was a hard life at that point. I went 2 years without front teeth.
Wow.
So I went back to speech therapy from my school had it in order to learn to speak without front teeth. Then I get front teeth,
Had to do
and
it
now I
again.
have to learn how to speak again because I'd gotten very good at speaking without them, and now I have teeth that where do I put my tongue? So I've been to speech therapy extensively 3 times.
Wow.
If anything, I tend to over enunciate.
Which is good. That's a good thing. It's okay.
So sometimes when I'm struggling for words and you hear it's my tongue getting twisted. It's the stutter trying to come out and me trying to control it.
Ah, so many lessons in that.
And it's interesting that I have 100 plus episodes on a podcast. It was incredibly vulnerable for me to start recording those. First of all, when I hear my own voice played back to me, not as much now. I'd say maybe a year ago, this would have been 100% true. I hear a 12-year-old girl, and there's a part of me that judges who wants to listen to a 12-year-old girl talk about what I'm talking about.
Me. Well, I wanna
Well,
hear you talk about what
right.
you're talking about.
I understood what you meant. What I've learned, and I get so much feedback, is how soothing my voice is,
Very much so.
how meditative they find it when I'm sharing my stories and my articles.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. I don't hear that. I don't necessarily experience that, but it's people I believe and trust. So I'm willing to take that story on. The story that isn't I sound like a 12-year-old and who wants to listen to me anyways, but that my words have power, have meaning. The quality of my voice allows that message to get through on a deeper level, and people want more.
More, please. Thank you. Thank you. More, please.
It's a story.
Yeah.
It's a story that I am allowing myself to live into and believe and just get better at. Okay, we went off on a tangent. What I was trying to say and then got tongue twisted This is why I don't actually do lives by myself, because I will go down so many rabbit holes and forget to come back to the point. Harmony is one of my favorite words.
Mhm.
And I use it mostly when I'm talking about alignment. I do not talk about work-life balance. Balance to me feels very rigid. I see the person walking the high wire and how they have to hold themselves.
Yeah.
And that does not feel like a lived experience I desire. Not to mention I have vertigo, and that just sounds like a really bad idea to have me up there. Harmony, though, being in harmony with each other, being in harmony with the universe, allowing myself to harmonize my needs. Some days I want to work a lot because I'm in the flow and I'm hyper focused, I'm getting things done. And other days it's like I need to rest.
Mhm.
And allowing myself to be in alignment with that. And shout out to a very dear friend who wrote a brilliant book called Alignment, Miss Katie Keller Wood. And I have to intentionally, very consciously drop the S. So I'm Woods,
Yeah.
Shaneh Woods. She's Katie Keller Wood.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many times I have typoed the S into her last name when sharing about her incredible book. If you have any part of you that holds on to there's a work-life balance, Katie Keller Wood, the book is Alignment, a Montessori approach to work-life balance. She completely destroys the story
Mm.
of work-life balance.
And does it so well.
Oh, beautiful. And she tells gorgeous stories inside the book to demonstrate her beliefs.
Exactly.
It's brilliant.
It really
I
is.
love stories. They're so powerful and
Yeah.
profitable.
Well, and even if you think it, I love the profitable part, because I'll just give you a couple of things that I've experienced with my clients and when they tell stories. And then I want to kind of talk Hollywood just for a second. So
Okay.
I work with this woman named Donna, and Donna, single mom, not only a single mom, but she's raising her grandkids. And she's doing this while running her business, getting people loans. And she really loved to help veterans. And she would just do tremendous things for veterans. So there would be a veteran who went to a bank and the bank was like, we can't help you out. Credit score is too low, whatever. So Donna would work with the veteran to help build the credit score and then get
Mhm.
the loan done. Or she would do these little end around things that only Donna could do. And I started telling these stories because I was representing Donna, and her
Mhm.
business tripled simply from telling the stories. Another client I worked with recently, her name's Melissa. Melissa, who I introduced you to, Shaneh, who
Mm.
runs the funding studio.
She's
This
amazing.
is
Yes.
she's a tremendous, tremendous human. And you get to see that when she tells her story of why she does what she does. So she helps artists finish their work because so many artists have trouble fundraising. She is a master fundraiser, Melissa is. So she helps artists learn fundraising techniques so they can make their documentary or paint their art or whatever they want to create. And her origin story and why she does what she does is because she lost her husband to cancer. And it happened so
Mm.
quickly, but he was an artist. So she keeps his memory and honors him through the work that she does. And if you're an artist and you're sitting in an audience and you're listening to Melissa tell this story, like there is no one better to help me get my project done than her. So she saw those same results, Shaneh, in that people just start connecting with her in her business, and that helps become more profitable. And then you go back to the Hollywood example. Hollywood is also profitable when they tell the right stories. And there's reasons why you watch your same movie, your favorite movie, over and over again, because you love the story and you get to be in that story. And you'll see things the second, third, fifth time, 50th time that you didn't see the first time because stories come in layers. And then you just get even more attached to that story and you want more of it. And you want more of Melissa. You want more of Shaneh. You want more of another client, Susie, who in the executive space is using her own background in stories to get noticed and stand out. And she's already got promoted. She's being eyed for another one. So it's like the universe really conspires on your behalf. The stories you listen about yourself and the stories you tell and how they attract the right people to you.
I love that. I'm going to have to tell a Hollywood story, and it ties to the consent chat or tapping script. So first of all, I want to call out Jan here. And I see your note about thinking that your voice sounds like Maude from the Golden Girls. I have to tell you, Jan, that is not my experience of your voice. I'm so glad that you love your voice now. Yes. You have a gorgeous voice. So I really wanted to let you know that I see you and I hear you.
And Jan, I cannot wait to hear you at Inspire and Elevate. I look forward to that conversation we're going to have.
That'll be great. Bex, unfortunately, will be on stage as Romeo.
Okay, Bex, no big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? Bex is right here with us today.
Bex has an incredible story, and at some point, I will be posting a guest post on my Substacks to introduce the world to Bex.
Excellent.
Ooh, and the fight director. I didn't know that part, Bex. That's amazing.
So cool.
Yeah,
I love this already. I'm only getting the nugget of Beck's story, and I want more. Tell me more.
Bex is amazing. You're going to adore them. So what I was going to say, my Hollywood story, and it's not my story, but it's my story. Hollywood actually made a mistake. My tapping that we're doing right now about being profoundly supported and giving the universe the consent to conspire on your behalf was inspired by me watching a TV show, Canadian TV show on Crave and then picked up by HBO called Heated Rivalry. It's an incredible love story. It's 6 episodes, queer joy on full display. I love that it's not the queer joke, the queer trauma, the queer sidekick, the queer, all the ways that traditional Hollywood likes the queer characters to play. A Hollywood streaming service, I don't know which one, was originally in talks to have the show with the writer and showrunner Jacob Tierney, and they were like, we don't want any kissing until the fifth episode.
You're going to kill the story.
The whole story. Part of the story is the yearning, right? And the joy and the emotional development that these 2 young, gay, closeted hockey players go through in order to be together. Not going to happen if you don't allow any sexiness until the 5th of 6 episodes. So Jacob Tierney said, I'm out. I will put this show on with a fraction of the budget you're offering, but I'm going to do the story justice. And that story took over the world.
Surprisingly so, right? Because he trusted his gut.
Yep. It's wonderful. And what I love most about the show, beyond it being just a beautiful love story, is the constant, almost aggressive, assertive, unending request for consent. Checking in. Are you good? Is this good? Can I do this? So fucking sexy. It inspired a conversation with the client. The conversation with the client, which was beautiful and moving, inspired the first part of the tapping script. And the tapping script is now 2 full parts that we just did it today, that are get your whole body going, yes, and more, please.
Yes.
And it's going to lead to that or better that we were talking about, that surrender to the universe, that I'm going to hold a vision for what I desire for my life. And I'm going to open up the door for the universe to surprise me, the universe to pour into me in ways I cannot imagine, so that we get to do that dance with the universe.
Right back to what Kyra's saying. Exactly. I love that, right? It's This is what I know. I know that the universe does have my back. Like I said, I have evidence of it. So anytime I question it, I go back to my stories and I remind myself how, oh, this connected with this. So I have these tapes here, Shaneh. These are from my college radio shows that I keep in my office because this is my history. And through this, so this was the first solo show I ever did right here. New Year's Eve, 1997, going into 98. I got to throw a hip hop party in Boston. Jan, I'm sorry you missed it. You were a couple years ahead of me, but nonetheless, it was there. It was ready to go. And then I got to interview Corrupt, who was on Dr. Dre's Chronic album. And he came through the studio like the first month my co-host and I were doing this show. But also, Shaneh, on this, the first year that I went into college, I got paired up with someone who in my cassette tape storytelling course, I call Redacted, because that was many years ago. I don't need to put this person on blast, but I had a difficult experience because it was almost as if the universe was like, okay, so this is what you say you want, huh? We're going to test you first just to see if you're going to stick with it. So I stuck with it. I applied again for the hip hop show. Second semester, didn't get it. And then the third time I applied, I got it. And it took, a full year, but you're at 19. You're like, this is not going well. I should quit and go do something safe. So I look at these tapes and I remind myself I didn't do something safe. I did actually what I wanted to do. And that's where the fulfillment comes in. I look back and I'm like, man, I'm so glad I did that. And even this was my 21st birthday. The show's on from 8 to 11, but I went to the radio station to do a show on my 21st birthday because that's how much I loved it, rather than going out with the boys and drinking beers. Which I did after the show, but still.
I love it. And thank you for giving us the perfect segue. Tell us about the cassette tape sessions.
Thank you.
Because I think everybody needs to be buying them. I got the last of them today. Best $100 I've spent in a while. So thank you very, very much. They're gorgeous, but tell them about them in your own words.
Okay. Thank you, Shaneh. The story, as Shaneh's pointed out, is so important. Your story is so important to how you connect to other people. So the way I've set the cassette tape stories up is you get 7 tracks with maybe a little extra. Each one tells you a different element of great storytelling. And I phrase it through these tapes because I want you to share your origin story through the process. And if you want an example, go to Shaneh's website, prosperityfirst.com. Go to her About section. You'll see exactly how powerful that the origin story is as far as attracting the right people to you, because people can see what you've been through, what you've done. So I walk you through mine and the struggles of really hanging on and really trusting the universe that, hey, man, it's coming. It's coming. The timing's going to be right, and it's going to be exactly right. Because behind the struggle on these tapes, my first radio partner that I had, a guy named Begway Brown, a.k.a. he went by Optimus, but he was a guy that also opened up my mind and my experience. And I found that through the doors of denial, there's at least 3 people that will help you open a new door. Because in between working with Optimus and Redacted, I met Miss Mecca, whose real name is Sherry Ann. But she was the one that showed me how to play a record on the radio. And now that I share that with you, you can see where I'm coming from and how passionate I am about having you really tune your frequency of your voice for maximum impact so you can really impart your wisdom and lessons on the world to improve other people's lives, bring people into you. The story is going to be your most valuable communication skill to be able to do that. And that's why I priced it at $100. It's super easy. It comes one little lesson a day. You also have a binge option. If you're like Shaneh, you saw the heated rivalry. Like, I'm watching all 6 right now. You can do that too.
Binge? Me?
Yeah.
I do not get hyper focused. I don't know who told you that.
Never. You told me that. No.
Great. Do me a favor, drop the link to the stories in the chat.
Thank you.
It is literally the best $100 you'll spend all year. Being able to articulate your story in such a way that people are moved to support you is one of the tools that you get to use to help the universe conspire in your favor. Bex, may I share a little bit about what's happened since you've started doing the consent tapping with me?
Romeo.
I will wait for a yes or no. I will again, asking for
Consent is
consent,
sexy.
right? Yep.
Consent is given.
Thank you, Bex. So Bex taps with me every Monday. So they are on theater time and they still get their butt up. I'm just saying. Actually, they're East Coast, so it's not I think that's East Coast still. It's not quite 7, but still, they get up. Just saying, Rob.
Thanks, Bex. No pressure. No pressure. Thanks.
So I unveiled this tapping script and they did it. And I think the next day they said in my DMs that they were chatting with somebody, not expecting anything from them, but telling them their story about why they do what they do, what it means to them, what they're passionate about. And that person said, "You're amazing. I want to help. So I'm going to do this work for you pro bono." So two things. Told their story, connected with somebody on such a level that they were immediately like, "I'm in support of you. Let's figure this out." And I'm gonna take 1% credit, just 1%, because I inspired them to give their consent to the universe to conspire on their behalf.
Proof is already there. Way to go, Bex. That's amazing.
Yeah. And that's just one of many things. My favorite parts of the day, like if you were asking me, okay, on a day that I do not have a chocolate croissant, what's the favorite thing that you have or happened to you today? For the past week, it would be Bex came into my DMs and gave me another example of how the universe is conspiring on their behalf. For me, I feel such joy and I collect that as evidence. And when I say I collect evidence, I have many journals. This is just 2 handfuls of them. I write down all the evidence I collect. Some days they're really big. Some days they're 2 or 3 words, right? Just to kind of get the idea across. But when I'm having a bad day, when I'm just not feeling it for whatever reason, I could pull any one of these open to any page and see the evidence the universe has got my back. And if it had my back then I can trust it has my back now.
Absolutely. And what I love about that too is the variety. And this is also the goal of the cassette tape stories, not to do another plug here, but just so you can understand.
We don't apologize for selling. We're business owners. We're here to make money.
I literally created it out of love and out of the results I'm seeing, because what happens is once you can tell your origin story, then you can start telling other stories in the same format, and you can tell stories of your client successes. So you can show not only that you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, if I can use Star Wars, and say that in the hero's journey, Obi-Wan is Luke's guide. So in the business role, you are Obi-Wan, but you're looking for your Luke. You want Luke to go on his adventure, her adventure, their adventure. So you telling your origin story helps you look at yourself and connect some dots and go, oh yeah, that's how I guide people to their destiny. So you take the same 7-ish elements and you learn that format. Now you can bring not just your origin story, your client success stories, but you can bring 12 of your stories with you, and you can adapt on the fly to what story the situation needs, what's going to be most effective for that person in that moment. And Shaneh, you're doing a lot of that too, is because you have so many stories. Like your origin story in and of itself is so many layers. Your successes built on that have so many layers. You can come to any event. You can come to Inspire and Elevate Chicago in July with 100 stories, and you'll know the best 4 or 5 to tell based on how you sense it. That right there is what, to me, it's all about, and that's maximum preparedness.
I like to use AI as a tool,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It gets to support me. I struggle with remembering to tell a story. Like, I am wordy as fuck. And yet it is hard for me to remember to, like, I'm trying to make a point, insert a story that demonstrates the point, right?
Yeah.
So after doing our 5-6 hour session where we were like, pull out the story, pull out the story. You were asking me so many questions and we were identifying story after story after story. I took all those stories, I wrote them out, I fed them to Claude, and I now, when I'm writing an article and I'm stuck, I can feed the article to Claude and say, what's the best story for me to insert?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you have an encyclopedia. Like all my content that I've created, all my stories, I have my content encyclopedia that I can go to and reference and remind myself sometimes of a story I'd long forgotten that could be useful wherever I'm at.
Yep. I had a coach one time have me do a very interesting exercise. And again, I'm connecting dots here that I've never thought of before. They asked me to write out a list of everything I'd ever accomplished. And I'm going, I haven't really accomplished much. I mean, I was in my 20s. Yeah, I had a business, but like, that's not that big of a deal. And then they're like, oh, no. I want you to go through your entire life as early as you can remember and start listing out everything you've accomplished. Like, what is the story of Shaneh? How did you get here? There'll be failures along the way. We're not going to worry about those right now. Let's look at all the things that you have accomplished.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to do. One, we're taught that bragging is bad. Do you know, I almost named I have a page on my website called Spotlight for podcast links to like things like this, right? Articles. I almost called it bragworthy. My coach was like, that might be a little too in your face. You can use that in your copy, but maybe not name the page that, even though it's on brand.
It is definitely on brand.
We've been taught that bragging is bad. I had a coach one time because I love to celebrate. When good things happen, I celebrate. I don't care if it's a big thing or a little thing, right? To me, there is no size difference. If it feels like a win, it's a win, period. So I celebrate a lot. And I had a coach that I no longer work with tell me I was a braggart. And it really hurt. So making this list of all that I accomplished, I was in serious resistance to it. But it's gold now for mining those stories. Because I did that. I did that thing. Yes, there were struggles along the way. I didn't ever do anything alone, whether it was in partnership with, say, somebody like Rob helping me tell my origin story, or the universe providing me what was necessary. Like, I didn't do it alone. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. But there's gold in those stories of the things that you have accomplished, the way you got from point A to point B, what you did to become the person who could do the thing. When you realized a certain thing about yourself, when you held a friend up when they couldn't hold themselves up, when you showed up for a client and they exceeded anything you have ever accomplished, and they did it because they took on one thing that you offered as a piece of advice. Like I said to you, Bex, I take 1% credit. 1%.
Well, I like where Bex you're going, right? You have
Yeah.
a perspective, whether it's through Shakespeare or all the stories you've collected as an actor,
Yeah.
to be able to tell new stories that expands our minds and opens us up to new possibilities. And I want to tie in what you said, Shaneh, too. If not for nothing else, if you look at your list of accomplishments and you really respect that you didn't do them alone, because the same thing for me, my radio success wasn't because of me, it's because I had a team or because the right person saw the right thing in me at the right time to give me a chance. Or
Yeah.
my cousin knew a guy that was running a radio station that he introduced me to, and then I got that job, right? So it's this teamwork approach. And when you look at your stories, you can say, wow, I am not alone. I haven't been alone. And damn, the universe does have my back and is pushing me in that right direction. And then you get to use that story, those stories as proof of concepts, and they're interesting
Mhm.
and they attract people and people want to listen to you because I think fundamentally we as human beings, we're all here to teach each other.
Sure.
And if you think like ancient humans, right? So storytelling, I love this because storytelling came from village elders. Go back to ancient Africa, the plains. People are really starting to figure out how to live together and how to work together. So grandmothers would tell the kids that are coming of age stories. So it wasn't, okay, we're going to have a lecture in front of the class with a whiteboard and we're going to write these things down. They had to make it up as they were going. So the
Mhm.
grandmother would put the furs of the animals on and make the sound of the hoofs to showcase to the kids, like, this is where the lion sleeps. Don't go there. This is where
Right.
the water is. Go there. That's how our brains have evolved to really relate to these stories. And that's why they pull us in so much. We're literally hardwired for it. So you're giving yourself a big advantage by resorting to stories and sharing yourself with others.
On the last Substack Live, I talked with Galena Denzel. She's a somatic healer and educator, practitioner and educator. She's brilliant. Also has a great book called Peace with Self, Peace with Food, or Peace with Food, Peace with Self. I always get unless I'm reading it, I get it mixed up. But you can Google it, Galena Denzel. Brilliant book. And one of the things that she said was we evolved, in tribes. And then back then we'd see, maybe 150 people in our tribe. And so we're hardwired to spot the friendly faces, to engage with people, to their stories. So this just feels like a full circle moment where
I
you're talking about the importance of stories, and she was talking about the importance of the tribe.
Yes. Well, my gut at this present moment in our technological history and our political history is telling me that community is going to become much more important over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years and beyond.
Mhm.
Because as we get so technologically advanced and our brains get assaulted with words and content constantly, more people are going to look for a balance in that and put the phone away more, hang out more, and be communal together. So I do think, Shaneh, that we are going to get back to our tribal sense
Mhm.
because that's too where you can build your own tribes. That too can be so much more powerful than our current political system if we choose to understand how much power we all have as individuals and what we can create together.
Well, and that ties perfectly into profit is protest. Right? So my philosophy is, and the reason I'm writing the book, and the plug for me, book comes out September 8th, is like we are the epicenter of our prosperity. We have to pour into ourselves so deeply that we can take care of our people, whether you define that as family or found family or whoever you define as your people, so that we can take care of the next ring out from that. Let's say our clients, in my case, is who I'd put in that ring. And then from there, my community, and from there, the world. Like, it gets to be a ripple effect. And now more than ever, people like us, heart-centered, alignment-oriented, want to dance with the universe, believe in kindness, compassion, courage, like all those things, we need to be unreasonably resourced.
Yes.
So that we can take care of ourselves, our people, our clients, our communities. Profit is protest. Where you spend your money tells us exactly what you value. I want to make so much money that the value that I am pouring out into the world is making the world a better place. And so my profits become my protest to all the systems that want to hold us down and hold us back.
And I love that you mentioned those systems, because they are very well resourced. And they, with that control, have, I don't know, run shop over the world, for lack of a better term. So because they have so many resources, they get to shape things and wars and policies and that are not helping build people up. They're built on division. I've say on my Substack, one of the things I've been really focused on lately, Shaneh, has been division. It's the world's largest economy. If you think about our social media channels, how many trillions of dollars they're responsible for in either ad revenue or people connection, they're geared towards division because that's what gets people on the platforms. And then you have the whole war economy, which we don't want to go down a whole deep on, but that's a money economy, right? That's a resourced economy. And it's needing wars to survive. So what do you think's going to happen with so many trillions of dollars are at stake? There will be wars for people that make bombs. So the only and best way to counteract that is if we evolve outside of that system and come together to either push this in the right direction or create an entirely new system that's empowering for individuals, not having people be a role in a society. Soapbox right there, Shaneh. You didn't know that was going to happen.
I didn't, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And I think that the way we're going to, and this is why, again, I'm writing the book, we're going to remove ourselves from the economy is not to strike it down, but literally to step away from it and say, we're doing things differently. You don't have to participate. You play your games. While the rest of us, and as the rest of us migrate out of that system and into a new one, that old system loses its power. Because it is only being supported by the people who show up to it.
Exactly. Well, and you think about how human societies have evolved. We've come up with new systems to try to live together. So we shouldn't, just because, it's modern and it's our time, we should still be thinking about and acting towards a collective society, in my opinion, that is more open and more welcoming and more free in all the different ways. Because then the entire world could thrive if it's done well.
If everybody bought into the belief that I hold true in my own life, is that I deserve everything that I desire simply because I exist and it harms no one. Like if that was the caveat that we all inserted into our beliefs and the way we move through the world would just be a better place. Like overnight.
Yes. It would be that simple. We allowed it to be.
It does for my world. That is the story I am telling, and the stories we tell shape the reality we live. I may be a small business by most people's measures on a little island off the coast of Washington State. And the impact that I get to have gets to be incalculable. The impact that, like, I am going with, like, the vision that I am holding for my mission, my words, profit is protest. is that it changes the face of the planet in ways that I will never personally see or experience, because it's gonna be 100 years from now. People are going, they may never know my name, but they know profit is protest. They know that the way they spend their money tells the world what they value, so they spend it in alignment.
Can I get an amen? I need an amen right now. So good.
Your fault. You pulled out the soapbox. I had to get up there and join you.
That's it. We'll share soapboxes. That is a way forward. Everybody gets to have a little soapbox, gets to appeal to the goodness in all of us. Yeah. And let's see what happens.
I love it.
See, Bex is giving you a standing O. Let's go.
Well, giving us a standing O. I actually think this is the perfect note to end on. We went way longer than anticipated, but
we chatty. Shaneh and I in a room chatty.
And this is why it is so hard for me to make it quick.
Don't worry about it. Just be good, be interesting, be you. The rest will take care of itself.
Well, I have the interesting and me. I think I've got that down really well. I think I'm also good. Sounds to me like my success and the impact I want to have then, therefore, is inevitable.
Damn right it is. Thank you more, please.
Exactly.
Or better.
Or better.
Throwing out some Shana-isms while we're here.
I have an entire list. Jeff has challenged me to put Shana-isms in the middle of the book. Like a glossary of Shana-isms.
Yes. Love this idea. You could just have a book of Shana-isms. So maybe the next version is like a daily Shana-ism, or you just get, it's April, what's today? May 2nd. May 2nd. Today's Shana-ism is this.
Do I have 365 of them? Maybe. It is me. We know I'm worthy. I love it. Bex, Jan, Kyra, Lisa, I'm thinking, there were a couple of names they went by so fast, I did not get to see them. Thank you for joining us. Please know that we are here for you in whatever way you choose to be supported. And if you have $100, please, please, please take Rob up on his very generous offer. It is a very short, sweet, powerful course. The cassette tape sessions. Drop the link again, Rob.
Yep. Coming in. CassetteTapeStories.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, folks. Appreciate you. We'll see you again. I am trying to do lives at least once a week. It's not a promise, but I'm working on it. So I hope to see you again.
Bye for now. Thank you, Shana.
Thank you, Rob. This has been great.
Loved it.
We could do the whole Midwestern thing and say bye 5 times before we actually hang up.
That's typical for you and me. I think we did it the other day, like, bye, but hold on, one more thing. And then a half hour later, we finally said bye. So here we are.
Yeah. All right. Take care, folks. Bye.